Hello, 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 and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between. I am your host, James J, featuring Kaliko Yachts, who is here but not on the show at this moment. He's taking a break. He'll be on a little later. Mitch Mayhem, who is on another Roppongi Bender. And hey, somebody that is actually here, Scooter Dust.
Well, well, trying to think of a clever line, but I'm just gonna say
The draft was enough of a punchline?
no. I was gonna say something. It's basically, yeah. Rest in peace, Teddy Van Halen, a true legend of rock, gone. And 2020 just gets worse and worse.
Pre-order your "This is the worst year I've ever lived in" shirt today. Well, it was a bad day for rock and roll fans, but it's a great day for wrestling. And yesterday was the 2020 WWE draft. Um, Interesting to say the least. No, Scooter?
Oh, without a doubt, wow. It's been strange. I don't even half of it you wouldn't even really call a draft. Um I'm talking before the show, I did make a mistake. SmackDown keeps Otis. Not
Okay.
the other one. Not but you know, it the idea of drafting people that are already on your show without explicitly stating that they have to be drafted in order to remain on the show. You know,
It made
plus,
sense when they redid everything
yeah,
twice.
yeah.
I mean,
Plus,
yeah,
I mean, the fact that, and by the way, Naomi's going to Raw.
yeah, I have everybody that was drafted.
But the fact that you have draft pools in specific, group in specific numbers means there is nothing random to it. That they know exactly every move, and any wrestling fan that has at least half a brain can deduce that there's no you know not a single ounce of randomization to it.
Right.
And that's the biggest selling point of the draft, to think that anybody from any brand could move and it would be shocking. And so far, only a few picks have really been shocking. I mean, the New Day, Kofi and Xavier returning, and Xavier wrestling for the first time in a very long time. And now the New Day, seven-time tag team champions, or is it 8?
Think it's 7. That sounds
Yeah,
right. They're up there.
I think that now makes them second to Edge and Christian.
Wasn't Edge and Christian 13 time?
Yeah, they were in the early to mid teens. But yeah, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions go to Raw, and Big E stays on SmackDown.
And that could
Kind
be
of,
the biggest, deal because Big E could finally be a main event superstar in that position.
and I I honestly don't see why they couldn't have done it the reverse. Big E go to Raw and keep the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Like it doesn't make sense tonight. And we still have one day and another show to go, and possibly draft picks happening on Talking Smack.
That was a that happened before.
Um, yeah, because they said the draft continues, but you know, I don't know. But Lars Sullivan is still employed,
I mean, what
which
rock did they pull him from?
5-star Lars.
In the Tokyo
But
Dome?
eh, he would probably like to be in some guy from Tokyo's Dome, but um,
Let let's get into it. First,
I'd 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 rather have Dave Sullivan than Lars Sullivan.
I'd rather no, I wouldn't want Kevin Sullivan. Uh, Drafted to Raw round one was Drew McIntyre. Big surprise there. Oscar and the Hurt Business. All three originally on Raw, so nothing changes there. And then on SmackDown is Roman Reigns. Obviously, he's the Universal Champion, and Seth Rollins. I'm really glad that maybe Seth is now off Raw because it gives him a new, fresh coat of paint at this point, with kind of getting stale. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, yeah. This almost was expected to a degree. Seth has done everything possible on Raw.
Just about. Second wave of drafting. Monday Night Raw. We have AJ Styles, which is not surprising considering his issues with Paul Heyman. Naomi, which actually might not be a bad pick for her, and Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
And you realize that 4 women picked picked before the actual SmackDown Women's Champion at that point. So if you're Bailey at that point, you gotta be feeling like, yeah,
Yeah, you're right. And the second draft, the second wave of drafting for SmackDown, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I mean, Sasha is fighting Bailey, so and she got preference over the actual champion.
mm, yep, and yeah, I brought this up uh, last week, but now it's uh, going to stay the same. The possibility of Sasha or Bailey going to Raw one thing on SmackDown, and then just making it Hell in a Cell without the title being on the line. Well, now, as of last night, it is now officially for the title um, inside Hell in a Cell.
Well, we kind of saw that coming.
Yeah.
Uh, third wave of drafting for Raw. We got Ricochet, Mandy Rose, and Miz and John Morrison. And Miz has been a ping pong ball of WWE. He just keeps going back and forward. Raw, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown.
Um,
Every single draft.
uh, I believe you left out the Hurt Business
No, I
in
said
that first. You
no. I
did,
mentioned
okay,
them in the first. Yeah,
okay. Uh, yeah, Raw keeps the United States champion. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just
do you think the Miz is maybe not as valued as maybe he should be?
I mean, I mean, he's coming up on 15 years,
Right.
and I mean, aside from actually, no, I probably would call The Miz the WWE's most how do I describe this active connection to to outside entertainment avenues.
Right.
His reality show, that game show
When you have
on
a
USA.
press junket, the Miz is the guy to call.
Yeah. Yep.
Drafted to SmackDown with Dre, Jay Uso, Dominic, and Rey Mysterio. Uh, it's kind of weird that they lumped Dominic with Rey because they're not a tag team. But it is good to see Rey Mysterio back on, his brand.
I mean, I remember that episode of SmackDown where Mysterio first arrived, climbed up the cage, dove onto the Un-Americans.
That was a good one.
Too.
It's in, what I find a little interesting here. Jay Uso solo, no Jimmy with him, just solely drafted.
Well, I mean, I guess you can infer one of two things that either Jimmy wants to go solo also eventually, or Jimmy's injury may be career ending.
I don't. That really suck if that's the fact. I don't necessarily think it is. I mean, how many times have we thought somebody's career was ended? Especially in the case of Ember Moon, who came back earlier this week.
Yes, very, very true.
He's drafted to Raw on the fourth wave, or round four as they would call it, I suppose. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, as you alluded to earlier. Dana Brooks and Angel Garza. Brooks and Garza were already a part of Raw, so nothing changes. And then drafted to SmackDown, Biggie and Otis. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. For the most part, Raw, Raw and SmackDown stay the same, save for getting the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Uh, Save for Raw getting the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and AJ Styles, and SmackDown getting Seth Rollins and the Mysterio family. Those are literally the only significant uh, picks, but it's also they're saving probably some big, and I use that term quite sarcastically here, picks for Monday, which again, you know, goes back to that whole idea of, it was SmackDown that was becoming the A show, and now it's back to being the B show.
When I always find it funny, they always called SmackDown the B show. As long as it was the B show, it was always really the A show because they would definitely give the better performance on SmackDown. From
Yes.
what? Uh, let's make a thing of it and say 2002 when the first draft happened to 2009, maybe 10.
I mean, the draft stopped being serious somewhere around 2006.
No,
Quite honestly,
I disagree with that.
uh,
I think the draft really suffered the most when they called it the Superstar Shakeup.
yeah.
So I see the biggest gift for SmackDown being Seth Rollins, and for Raw AJ Styles, because I really
Yeah.
want to see AJ Styles wrestle Drew McIntyre. In secondary, there might be something there. In the
Well,
long run,
you, you also have to remember that, uh, prior to WrestleMania, AJ was on Raw,
he was.
and they got traded for Dolph Ziggler.
This is correct.
Um, so
I see the dark horse picks being The Miz for Monday Night Raw and Big E for SmackDown. I don't know why, but that's kind of where my head is headed in this point. What about you, Scooter?
uh, I I I honestly, mm, I mean, I'm really I'm really hoping they split Miz and Morrison finally gets that main event push. I mean, but I mean, Morrison at this point. I mean, neither Miz or Morrison will ever be world champion. And then again, but at this point, it's wait and see, and
I mean, Morrison was never a champion to begin with.
yeah,
It'll be
when
interesting to see how
yeah.
it plays out. And we still have one more day of drafting on Monday. Um, and nobody from NXT was drafted, so that'll be
Yep, they are not
interesting.
included, and they are not included apparently.
We will can. Oh, and another thing that happened this week in the news. Mustafa Ali was revealed as the leader of Retribution.
A good move. The WWE did not forget about, that hacker, so to speak. And and we all speculated that it was going to be Mustafa Ali, and then Mustafa Ali just returns like normal until we basically forget about it. And then, the thing is, though, is that every member of Retribution is bigger than Mustafa Ali.
But doesn't that make it a better aesthetic? That, he has these big men looking over his shoulder. I mean, he's easy to get to. You just have to go through the two big son of a bitches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, also with the fact that when Retribution losing Mercedes Martinez,
I believe her name was Shadow.
Shadow,
Shadow.
Shatter,
Shadow.
Shimmer, uh, WSU, whatever. Interestingly enough, I did work with Mercedes for some WSU title matches. Back in 2010.
Well, I hope you stayed on her good side.
Well, when I'm the person that's got to get a message to the referee to tell them to wrap up their match because they went more than 5 minutes, yeah, you don't want to be in Mercedes Martinez's way when she's angry.
Maybe get out of the building before she does.
Yeah. I mean, and considering the fact that, there was no women's locker room, so, yeah.
Well,
Moving on.
That'll conclude our news for this time. And we are wrestling with NXT Takeover 31. And if you were smart, you listened to it on the remix with Scooter Dust.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think about this paid preview, Scooter?
Well, honestly, it was really good in terms of performance. For only 5 matches, and despite no title changes, these matches, if I haven't actually haven't seen what the Wrestling Observer gave each match, but I would say each match was at least 3.5 stars.
And I mean, that sounds about right for a takeover. I mean, especially when considering who you had on the show. And that will bring us to our first match. Damian Priest defeating Johnny Gargano to retain the NXT North American Championship. I mean, nobody really expects Johnny Gargano to win a takeover match at this point, but he still gives the best performances on the card. Right, Scooter?
Absolutely. And, at this point, I think Johnny Gargano has earned the, the moniker of being that, top of the card guy that can always lose and still retain his spot on the card.
That sounds about right. I mean, yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that, a loss doesn't kill him at this point. I mean, more or less it's expected of him at this point.
I mean, I really do hope Gargano eventually, I will say, I hope that losing infuriates him so much that he actually wants to leave NXT. Yeah, but I mean, Gargano wants to be a big fish in a small pond, but even the big fish, you know what? I don't know where I was going with that analogy, but
Time to move on.
it's time for Gargano to move on. It really is.
I think you're right. Especially him and Ciampa has more or less done everything, so it would make sense for them to maybe go to greener pastures. I mean, Ciampa has shown that he's able to do it. He's been on Raw and SmackDown, and he didn't look out of place at all. And that will bring us to our next match, Kushida versus Velveteen Dream. Kushida won via submission. Kushida's first ever takeover match. It certainly didn't disappoint, no, Scooter?
Yeah, certainly did not disappoint. I really hope this is the start of bigger things for Kushida in NXT. He seems like the logical next person to feud for the NXT Championship.
I mean, on paper, yeah.
But given NXT's reputation with Japanese champions, they're 50-50 on that. I mean, having only succeeded really with Shinsuke Nakamura, but not with Hideo Itami, aka Kenta.
Yeah, you're right about that, but I could also make the argument they were never able to pull the trigger on Itami / Kenta.
That is also true, but I mean, he did. I mean, yeah. I can't counter that.
And joining us, Kaliko Yachts.
Ooh, sorry for the delay. I just got some great news. It was my agent, so I'm officially a homeowner. Finally.
Hey, so we're not seeing you on House Hunters.
Yeah, no House Hunters episode today.
when you said agent, I thought you were going to announce that you had signed with
WWE.
New Japan.
And
I signed up for the G1. Late entrant into the G1. Yeah, that's me.
Drafted to Raw, Kaliko Yachts.
No, it'd be yes, Kaliko.
Kaliko.
Obviously, you're a little late, Kaliko. We talked a little bit about the draft. Have you been able to see anything of the draft?
Wait, hold on. Before you speak, we have to mention that every time we say draft, we're actually doing it with quotation fingers.
Oh, okay. So, draft. Yeah, because it's not like they drafted people from the streets. They drafted like their own employees. Yeah. The draft, it's kind of weird that they're doing it around this time, especially with that pay-per-view coming up. So, it,
I mean,
usually it's right after SummerSlam where
but
they kind of wipe
I
the board clean
yeah, but next week is the season premiere of SmackDown.
on Fox. Yeah.
So there, yeah, next week Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship, and and next week SmackDown the farewell to the New Day as
Oh,
they
they're going to Raw.
no Kofi and Xavier are going to Raw.
Word. What? They broke them. Well,
And
damn. Well, it's not a breakup, more of a divide and conquer.
but not only that, not only is Biggie staying on SmackDown, but Kofi and Xavier are now the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
So that means the SmackDown Tag Team Champions are just swapping over, and Street Profits are coming to SmackDown. I kind of figured the Street Profits would get there because they basically wiped the division. They need new people.
I mean,
Unless you want to see them against Andrade and
no,
Angel for the 38,000th time.
but Angel was drafted separately.
Which is good for him because you kind of figured that he was gonna go solo. You knew it was coming that they were breaking him up. What I didn't expect was the breakup between Andrade and Zelina. That one was like more of a shocker, but
and I really hope Raw ends up becoming blue and SmackDown ends up becoming red.
The only reason I would say it wouldn't because Fox in itself is blue.
Yeah.
As much as I would love, as much as that would make sense, and plus, most people like the blue Universal title than the red Universal title. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see Vince doing that before having to explain the trading the tag team championships.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. Because I mean, well, since they get drafted by Raw, they're officially the Raw, unless they lose the belts between.
Yeah, I mean,
a possibility.
And that could happen because I think that because New Day's gotten to the point where like being tag champ is good, but it's not like they're bigger than. You can make an argument they're the top 5. They're when you think of WWE now, they're in the top 5, maybe top 3.
And Kaliko, we're talking about NXT Takeover 31 right now. Casino and Velveteen Dream. What did you think about the match?
It was actually pretty good. I mean, the way that it ended, it kind of put a mean streak in Kushida. Because think about ever since Kushida got there, and this is the thing that WWE when they want to turn it on, they can is like giving people that tough streak. Because it's happened to New Day where they were seeming hokey until like the Usos brought it out of them. Street Profits were kind of hokey until Andrade and Garza got it out of them. And Kushida was the same way until Velveteen Dream got it out of him. Because even after the match, he just was like, yo. To him, it wasn't about the match. It was more like, yeah, it was about winning the match because he needed it. But that stuff after was like, some serious stuff. Plus, when Dream came out as Doc from Back to the Future, that was just like that was some crazy shit. But I wish Velveteen wish he had a DeLorean to go back to when he was over. But
he might have done as much coke as John DeLorean.
So I mean, to me, I feel he puts on good matches. It's, like we always say, it's always the other shit. And to me, that means he's not going to get fired because when Shawn Michaels is vouching for you, and that's what I'm betting. I'm betting Shawn is vouching for him, and he's just going to have to take these lumps and then figure out what's going to happen down the line.
Somebody that we haven't seen a lot of on NXT or NXT takeovers. Santos Escobar defeated Isaiah Scott to retain the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. This was a great showcasing of both guys in a mainstream singles match. No, Scooter?
Absolutely. Um, yeah, we talked about it during the remix about the omen of removing the mask if you are a luchador and then putting it back on, as being bad luck. But also the personality change that comes with taking off the mask. And while as El Hijo del Fantasma, Escobar was high flying and whatnot, but as Santos Escobar, more grounded, more technical, and it's a really good pairing when up against somebody like Isaiah Scott.
What about you, Kaliko? What was your thoughts on the match?
A, a really good back and forth match. And it had its points where I thought Swerve was going to get it because he was just this close. You know what I mean? And it showed like he had his number before, but now Santos is his new guy, and it ain't the same dude he fought, just a different personality. Uh, I guess they're trying to, and they're always looking for the next Latin star. Uh, so it made sense in that regard. But I think this isn't the last time we see Isaiah go after that title, um, unless he gets pulled up to one of the main rosters, and you know. But I feel like that they match well, and I think that should be a longer feud.
You said that next big Latin star. Uh, to both of you, you think Escobar could maybe get to NXT World Championship status, or maybe even get something big on the main roster, Scooter?
Hmm. It's possible, although I might say that if Vince keeps up with the news, he might be souring on really pushing any Mexican wrestlers to the main event anytime soon, given that Alberto Del Rio has been indicted.
Indicted, yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, yeah, they pushed him back in the day, but Garza, Santos, Andrade, different guys. I mean, can you really blame one bad guy like Del Rio for their actions?
no, we can blame Vince for
No,
being a racist who thinks they're all the same.
no, I don't think that'll be the case. Uh, I will say though, NXT, I feel he has a better uh floor, a better floor, because I feel like NXT is the one place where your weight really doesn't, or your size doesn't define how what championship you go for. because fucking Gargano's won all the bitches. So that tells you that they're willing to put it on whoever they feel is the best wrestler. The main roster would be a big difference because, Vince boxes you in and it's hard to get to break out of that mold once you're in that mold. Kind of like, prime example, Cedric Alexander. Like, he started off in the Cruiserweight tournament and you really haven't seen him, go above anything other than Cruiserweight. And that's where I feel like it's a strength and a detriment.
Well, yeah, earlier today, it was released. The information was released that Finn Balor was not the initial choice for the main roster superstar to return to NXT. It was apparently supposed to be Kevin Owens.
Well, Kevin Owens was already on the main roster.
Yes, but when it would have been Kevin Owens going to NXT, decide to go to NXT instead of Finn Balor.
Okay, I understand what you mean.
Yeah. So,
and that would have made sense because think about it, he was at War Games last year, and it gave the impression that he could come back. So I get it.
Yeah.
Next up, Io Shirai defeated Candice LeRae to retain the NXT Women's Championship. Io Shirai, badass world champion, no? She really holds up that division. Scooter?
At one point we thought she was going to be all that was left of the division. But then, we got Toni Storm and Ember Moon.
Two big bolstering ads. But continue.
And which also, the match was good and cements Io Shirai as a top women's division competitor. But more than that, this showed us that things are looking up for NXT in terms of hopefully seeing more NXT UK superstars come stateside soon. So the match not just good for NXT, but not just good for Io Shirai, but good for NXT overall.
What say you, Kaliko?
Totally agree with everything my compadre says. And huge shout, and I think the most interesting match would be the Tony Io, obviously because of the Mae Young Classic rematch. And there's a story there where Tony kind of got the best of her.
Absolutely right. I forgot about that.
Ember Moon, honestly, just her getting back in the ring is a miracle in itself because there were reports and even she was admitting that it could have been life-threatening or like injury-ending rather. Not life-threatening, but injury-ending or career-ending. So for her to come back is just a testament of its own. But those two names brings up a huge facelift to the women's division. I feel like they might need a couple more pieces that could get called up or switched over in between that are some good singles wrestlers that could like give it a solid, make it a lot more solid than what it is. because all I could think of is all the mixings of a Tony Dakota, Ember Dakota, Raquel and Ember. You just give me a couple more pieces, couple more, and it would be a hell of a lot better.
I mean, it seems like they've been really bringing up Shotzi Blackheart in the recent months.
That is true too. So that's what, and that's the thing. Just like mix the young bucks with those vets, and it's a win-win because it's new matchups that they never seen before, and they get the experience, and we get the pleasure of looking at, oh my God, how would this work stylistically? How would this? So yeah,
And that brings us to our main event, the NXT Championship match: Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly. Finn Balor got the W. But it wasn't without its repercussions. Finn Balor broke his jaw. Kyle O'Reilly, supposedly, rumor, if you believe the rumor and innuendos, suffered a concussion. And the the thing that took us out of that night, Rich Holland laying out Adam Cole. Well, Rich Holland was laid out a couple nights later with a knee injury that he had surgery on the next day.
yep, just a lot of tangling parts right there. And it's just
How
like
about
it's
we just
literally a lot, literally.
how how about we start with the actual match? Scooter, what? How was the match?
Um, defied expectations all around. You know, nobody really thinks. You know, and there's a you could almost equate this to Roman and Jey Uso, that when one half of someone who has always been known as a tag team wrestler within WWE and NXT, um, when they go up against a champion in a singles push, it's usually one sided. It really is most of the time. Not here. Not here. It defied all expectations, and as a WWE fan, I look for those rare moments where they make me question if I really know what's going to happen.
I
And that's
definitely.
what happened. And that's what happened with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly.
Now the aftermath: broken jaw, concussions, broken ribs galore. Was the match, this great 5-star match, worth the repercussions?
Well, I mean, Finn Balor will live to defend the title again, so I guess a second title defense means yes.
And Rich Holland, um, what could have been? Do you think it would have been good, or do you think it was
Yeah, see, for those who don't know, Ridge Holland was a professional rugby player,
right?
and he, you know, not well known in the states, but across the pond, in the UK and whatnot, he was, you know, almost the rugby equivalent of David Beckham.
Hmm.
That's how well known he was. I can't remember what his actual real name is though. Um,
Because you're an American. You watch actual football.
Yeah, Americans kind of, when it comes to rugby, yeah, I could forgive you if you.
Yeah, yeah. We just let our rugs be.
Exactly. Like we treat rugby and soccer like jack.
And so I'm not so sure if it would have been good. Uh, because Ridge was one of the few people that got stuck in the States when the travel ban hit from NXT UK, and he was supposed to get a huge push over at NXT UK.
That
So
made sense because everybody knew who the hell he was, and
yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a blessing in disguise because I'm really freaking hoping Finn Balor, Kushida, that's gotta be coming up.
Well, from your mouth to Vince McMahon's ears. And Kaliko, your thoughts on the actual match?
I thought this match, it the injuries are not surprising based on how hard they went. Um, there was a thing where they said Balor called it early. It was supposed to go longer. So think about that. It got called early, and it should have been longer. You got to give WWE kudos for these matches where we're looking like what the hell, and then it comes out, and you're like, wow, you know what I mean? So as much as we give them shit for all the stupidity with T-Bar and T-Rex and Snickers bar and so on and so forth. When they get it right, when they get like a right matchup and it defies everything that we think, it's only right to give them the kudos as well. And I will say with the Jay and the Roman thing, they knocked it out the park. This one, they truly knocked it out the park. This match was better than the Cole Balor match. And think about that. Like that match was better than Cole Balor.
But O'Reilly's
And that was
always
the
been
one.
an underrated performer.
But well, O'Reilly, I wouldn't say he's underrated. I would say he's overlooked
That's a
because
better word.
if because to me, I've seen him and he had his matches in ROH, and he was a former ROH champion. He had a feud with Adam Cole. They had some really good matches. So it's not like I never seen him like have this match. I knew he had it in him. It was just a matter of this was the right time for him,
Right.
and that to me is better because you could always jump in. The prime example, Alberto Del Rio. Remember when he joined the WWE and he was like a rocket to his ass and people kind of rejected him. I feel like with O'Reilly, like him being the tag guy, and it's the funny thing. That's the funny thing I don't get about WWE. They like the tag guys always sometimes come out and they just overperform, and we've seen it with Jay and Kyle because we just see them as just two tag dudes, and that's it. And then when they put some shit out there as like this, we're like, holy shit, they could get the belt.
And your thoughts on Rich Holland and what could have been.
Totally unfortunate. I let's just hope it's a speedy recovery and he could get back as soon as possible. But it's always like that moment, and I know when people get their injury, they think of the the process more so than the return. So let's just hope he's more worried about the return and not having to deal with the process and let that mess with him and get into a mental state. Because I think when he comes back, he's going to be like really fire.
And now we'll conclude our coverage of NXT 31 Takeover. And next up, we are wrestling with the G1 Climax 30. And we will be doing a review, a preview, coverage, whatever you want to call it.
And for the record, I'm drinking tequila because shit has been right in the world.
See, I told you, James.
Has come back to except for the Sonata win, but everything else that Sonata win was out of his ass. But everything else has come back to right in this world.
And we'll be covering the 6th and the 7th. We haven't seen the 8 yet because English commentary. It's a hell of a thing. But let's get into B block action first. Hiroki Goto beat Toru Yano in 18 seconds with the Goto Shiki. Kaliko?
All is right in the world. all is right. But if anybody, like, I don't get it, because I'd be thinking, like, if anybody would not fall for the Yano shit, wouldn't it be his own members of Chaos that wouldn't fall for that shit?
I mean,
prime example. Hiroki Goto didn't fall for the shit. Just like, yo, let's get this shit out the way. Nip it in the butt. Literally and figuratively.
This was the shortest match in G1 history. 18 seconds. Your thoughts on that, Scooter?
I don't know. This was long enough to even have thoughts.
Well, there you go.
That means Hiroki Goto, title shot, king of pro wrestling.
You're actually right about that. If that's how that works.
See? You see how that works?
So, Sonata defeated Zack Sabre Jr. in 14 minutes and 31 seconds with a rounding body press. It seems like Sonata has finally got his second win. Do you think it may be too late in the game?
The difference a week makes. I mean, considering it's really balanced, and a lot of those top guys still gotta face some stiff opponents. It's not all without possibility, but Sonata's gonna have to like pull it out of his ass. Every match kind of has to be like his elimination match, and that's where it's good. And it's just that he's having that edge, but it's bad because he's putting that pressure on himself.
And ZSJ is at 2 wins, 3 losses, 4 points. More on the disappointing side for him? No? I mean, compared to other years.
Compared to other years, yes, but think of this year, we had Toru Yano and Taichi at the top of the standings. So I at this point, everyone's afforded a mulligan after last week.
But considering that you've got a 6-way tie, after the last B block night, you can't count anybody out at this point except for maybe even maybe at this point you actually can't count out Kenta, who, and who we all thought probably was the dark horse. Uh, yeah, this time around.
I think the only two people that's technically all out of it is
Yujiro,
Yoshihashi and Yujiro.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, one one more win for Kenta, and yeah, was right back in it with everybody else. There's a four-way tie in Block A for number one, a four-way tie for second in Block A. It's
Yeah.
it's the
Yep.
closest G1 ever.
It
It
really
is, and
is.
that's where I was thinking because last year, usually the G1, you would need about between 12 and 14 points to like actually be in, to actually even have a shot. I feel like this year it's going to be in that 10 to 12 because it's so like what he said. It's so fucking balanced, and it's so many matchups that we haven't even seen yet. And that's where I think that last night is going to be the last two nights are going to be the best nights because those are going to be where everything is just going to like I believe half the block will be eliminated. Like those blocks will be eliminated within the last two nights.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if at at the end of this we have a multiple way tie and we end up having a tournament.
That could happen. I think, especially with the G1, with Wrestle Kingdom being two nights, I would not put that too far out the bubble.
I don't think
Like,
that's gonna happen because that's why they have um tiebreakers, so they don't have to go to a
but
tie.
That's
yeah,
true,
but
but
there's so
let's
many people tied that eventually it's going to get to a statistical, you know, definite
Nightmare.
probability that there may be more than four
yeah, it's possible.
tied.
That's true.
And given the global situation, it might be in New Japan's best interest to stretch this out as much as possible. And you also have to remember there were plenty of years where the G1 was an actual was a tournament, single elimination instead of a round robin.
That's true, and you're absolutely right. They're stretching this out because they have two more tournaments coming up after the G1. Best
The
of the
tag,
Super
right?
Juniors
Usually
and World Tag League,
World
interchanging
Tag League.
nights up until the 11th of December. So yeah,
Yep.
they want their they want their money this year.
Oh, they're gonna squeeze the hell out of it, boy. If you ain't got your New Japan subscription now, boy, it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong when them two run simultaneous.
Up next, we have Juice Robinson. He lost to Evil in 15 minutes and 35 seconds with Everything is Evil. Juice Robinson is at 3 wins, 2 losses. Evil's at 3 wins, 2 losses. And to be honest, this is the best Juice has ever looked in a G1.
Yeah, and you can make an argument like his two losses are uh, only the Ace and Evil, two former champs who were at the top of the food chain at one point. Although Evil was only there for like a cup of coffee, but I mean, yeah, it I think this is probably his best record wise. I think last year personally was like the best as a character. because he had a guy to look forward to beating his ass. And that's not there. So it's kind of like, that's the only thing that's keeping me from investing in Juice. Because last year it was basically he had a target on Mox the whole way. And he won some because of it, and he lost some because of it. But it gave his story and his path a little more intrigue. This year, it's not really there, although this is his best wrestling G1.
What do you think about the Blues Brother gimmick he's been using?
Man, I couldn't tell you, man. I honestly, he's
Juice Robinson.
He's Juice Robinson. I mean, hell, he was over here as CJ Parker as he basically was like the Daniel Bryan Save the Planet gimmick before it got to Daniel Bryan. Think about that. So yeah, I mean, he's still trying to find it, but the wrestling skills there is just the character development with him. So
then we have Yoshihashi losing to Tetsuya Naito with a Destino. Nobody didn't see that coming, especially Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, whoop that bitch ass.
And that brings us to A block action. It's worth noting that Naito's at 8 points. And closest to 10. I mean, let's face it, he's getting to 10 points before anybody else.
He is.
Exactly. Yeah, he is.
He's at 10. Yeah, he's at 10.
Yeah. So
yeah. So
he's already at 10. Yeah.
I mean, it goes to show you how much of on his game he is.
But that also tells me that like him losing to Evil was the best thing that happened to him.
I think getting that eye surgery was the best thing that ever happened to him.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, just overall, from an overall standpoint,
right?
It kind of literally got him out of that lethargicness that he displays sometimes. Because sometimes you could tell if he takes a match seriously. Because if he's out there in a t-shirt, he ain't taking that shit. He ain't taking that shit seriously. So that's how, you know what I mean? So that's a good thing. It's a good thing that he's taking it seriously.
Next up in A block action on the 7th, Tomohiro Ishii defeated Yujiro Takahashi. Ishii is at 3 wins, 3 losses, 6 points. Yujiro's at 0 wins, 6 losses. I've never really felt bad for Yujiro ever in his career. But this is pretty bad that he hasn't got 1 win in the whole G1. Isn't it, Scooter?
Yeah. And another
no. He'll probably get one. He's due for one. Maybe it's against Taichi. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Kazuchika Okada defeated Jeff Cobb in 11 minutes and 3 seconds with a pinfall. Okada's at 8 points. Cobb is at 4 points. And I could make the argument Kazuchika Okada is not the Rainmaker he used to be. I mean, if Jeff Cobb ever had an opportunity to beat Kazuchika Okada, it was here tonight in that match.
Yeah, but that's been Okada's weakness his whole career though, is that he has the ability to be a heads and shoulders above everybody, but he'll also have the ability to wrestle to a person's level. And and kind of be lazy and kind of be, run of the mill because he feels like he's gonna win because he shows up. Cocky is the word I'm looking for. He has a tendency to be cocky.
I don't know about that. It
Not
kind of seems.
cocky in a heel sense, but cocky in the sense of his ability.
No, what I'm getting at is, that is the kind of exuberance Okada gives off. It kind of seems like he lost his confidence a little bit after losing, the KOP, after losing the New Japan Cup, after losing the Neville six-man championships, which he's never gone for before. It seems like he might actually be have a little bit lack of confidence going into this G1.
You mean kind of like when Gato turned on him and he kind of had this whole balloon thing going, that type of deal?
He still had a presence about him when he lost his mania, as some people called it.
Uh, it kind of felt like he was running through the show though. I mean, it's kind of the same, but to me, yeah, career wise, I would say this would not like wrestling wise, this is not his greatest year, and especially considering that like because the way that he presents himself outside of New Japan is that like he's Japan's greatest import or export, right? Especially with the Olympics was coming and he was going to be one of the bigger guys, on that Olympic stage. So I could kind of see it like him not being to be that great statesman that he usually wants to be, and losing the Yano, shit, that'll do it to anybody. So yeah, I can see your point a little
Speaking
bit.
of great losses, Will
And then he
Ospreay.
started. Yeah, he did start. I was about to say he started out the year losing to Naito. So yeah, you got
Right.
a point.
Will Ospreay defeated Minoru Suzuki with a Stormbreaker. Ospreay's at 8 points, Suzuki's at 6 points. I don't care who you say you want to talk about upsets. Will Ospreay defeating Minoru Suzuki is an upset.
Yep.
Yeah, considering he lightened the ass. Yeah, it's almost like if Orange Cassidy had to beat Suzuki if they had that match that they were supposed to have in Tampa. I was so pissed about that. If that was ever a match I wanted to see, that would have been it. Like, I want to see how that one worked out.
Okay, Kalika, you have the option. You want to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey and Charlotte, or do you want to see Orange Cassidy and Suzuki?
I already seen Becky and Ronda and Charlotte.
No, I mean you have to pick between seeing that match.
I vote for Becky versus Suzuki.
Oh my!
Yeah, that would be better. That would be better. Becky versus Suzuki.
While pregnant.
Because I feel like Suzuki will put a butthole in her ass. And we saw what he did with Asuka, and that was Asuka just trying to get the rite of passage. So damn well he'll fucking break her ass off.
Speaking of rite of passage, Tai Chi lost to Jay White in 15 minutes 16 seconds. Blade Runner. Tai Chi's at 6 points. Jay is at 8 points.
All is right in the world, and those two bastards get their ass put back down the bracket.
And
put down a peg where they belong.
Next up, Kota Ibushi lost to Shingo Takagi in 21 minutes and 56 seconds with a Last of the Dragon. Shingo Takagi denied Kota Ibushi 10 points. He stays at 8 points. Shingo Takagi at 6 points. Interesting booking deal. No, guys?
Not really. Because think about it. Takagi was like the guy before the pandemic. He was like He was like the never open weight king up in that bitch. So it's not a surprise.
What about you, Scooter? You think Takagi has a chance of being up there with Okada and Ibushi?
No, 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 no. And this is the luckiest that Takagi will ever get.
Interesting. We are going to do some preview of the next couple nights. On October 10th is A Block action. Tomohiro Ishii versus Jeff Cobb. Who wins Scooter Dust?
Mm, not Cobb.
Kaliko?
I was about to say, if there were ever a time for Cobb to get a win, this would be one of those. He already pulled two out of his ass. Three's not out the realm.
Next up, Jay White versus Yujiro Takahashi. On three, Jay White. 1, 2, 3, Jay White.
Jay White might get his ass upset fucking round. He might. That's a might. It should be Jay White.
You have you're going with Dark Horse 2, Scooter?
Yeah, yeah. I'll go with the Dark Horse.
Will Ospreay versus Tai Chi. Who wins, Scooter?
Well, since everything went right, it's probably gonna go wrong again. So just to get Kaliko's goat, I'll say Tai Chi.
I was about to say Tai Chi too, because that looked like this looked like some shit he'll pull out.
You know, that's funny because I was going to go with Tai Chi too. So maybe we're onto something here. Kota Ibushi versus Minoru Suzuki. Scooter, who wins?
Hmm. You know, I'm not sure. This is really new school and old school New Japan coming together in this one specific match. And yeah, I think the safe bet is Kota.
I agree with that.
Hmm. Coda, yeah, Coda, because he's gonna win because he's the defending G1, so they're always gonna put him somewhere up in the higher echelon. So I'm thinking Coda.
Shingo Takagi versus Kazuchika Okada.
Oh, Okada.
Scooter?
I'll say Okada as well, but I've got a sinking feeling.
That's been me basically the whole time. Tai Chi and Yoshi's been getting wins.
By next week, you could have a 7-way tie for first in each block. So I don't know what to think at this point. But
If that shit
Okada.
happens, yeah, we owe you one. We owe you some if that happens.
No, I actually agree with Scooter. I think Takagi could take this. If this was last year's Okada, no. But this year Okada, Shingo has a chance. And we are going into night, we're going on to October 11th, and that's B Block action. Yoshihashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Do I even need to
Fuck,
say anything?
fuck Yoshi. Zack Sabre.
There you go. Kenta versus Yano. Scooter?
If there's a god, Kenta.
Kaliko?
Yes, Kenta. Kenta. Let's
I mean,
hope
you can
Kenta.
basically flip a coin at this point when it comes to a Yano match. Just
Why don't
Robinson.
we flip a baby instead? Better odds.
Just Robinson versus Sonata. Who wins?
Time limit draw.
Interesting. Kaliko?
Ooh, that Sonata. He needs it. Sonata.
Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Goto. Who wins, Scooter? Huh. Interesting.
Well, no, they're both tied. Oh God. Yeah, Tanahashi.
Kaliko?
Tanahashi.
And to close out B block action on the 11th, Naito versus Evil.
Now, if the entire future of B block will depend on this match alone, because if Naito gets it, at that point, I think we could say, and actually, I think with one more win after that, Naito's got block B.
Be sewed up, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Evil.
What about you, Kaliko?
This is like the rubber match. I'm gonna say Evil just in the case that usually there's two people who gets title shots, and it would make sense. Sonata getting a title shot, he's gonna get his ass beat. But Evil being the one, if he gets the win, he gets another shot, crack at those titles. So yeah, it's gotta be Evil.
And we are going on to the 13th. Will Ospreay versus Jeff Cobb. This is A block action. Who wins? Scooter.
Yeah, Ospreay.
Yeah. Kaliko?
Ospreay. Yes, we all going Ospreay.
Ibushi versus Yujiro. Do I even need to ask?
No.
Just say no. Next.
Takagi versus Taichi. Scooter.
Oh God. There's got to be a time limit draw eventually in one of these matches. They did a time limit.
One.
They did a time limit draw with the pre-show match with the same four superstars over and over again. God. Yeah, Taichi.
Kaliko.
Takage, because fuck Taichi.
Minoru Suzuki versus Jay White. Scooter. Who wins?
Hello, did no one see me come in?
Oh.
Oh no, what it do?
It's all good, dude. Who cares?
Welcome to the show, Mitch.
I care, Mitch. I care.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. But I just got here, yeah.
I'll go with Suzuki.
You know, but I was thinking that too. What about you, Kaliko?
This one, Jay White, because I feel like Jay White's gonna get the block. Jay White.
Mitch, who wins the match? Okada or Ishii?
Do I really have to answer that? Like, who I think will win?
Yeah, we don't.
Or
Yeah,
who
we
I
don't have
think
to.
they'll
Yeah,
go with?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
who I...
No. That you
Okada,
shouldn't
of
have to.
course, if they're doing joke shit, then Ishii.
Scooter, agree, disagree?
I'm gonna say Ishii.
Hmm.
Based on scores alone.
That's what makes it ridiculous, though.
And what say you, Kaliko?
Okada. Okada at his worst is better than Ishii at his best.
Then we're on to October 14th. We are B block action once again. Yoshihashi versus Kenta. Don't need to say anything about that. Juice
Fuck
Robinson.
Yoshi, Kenta. I'm gonna say fuck Yoshi in every match.
This is an interesting match. Juice Robinson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Who do you think will win, Mitch?
Zack Sabre Jr.
What about you, Scooter?
I don't know if it will matter at that point.
Well, you
But,
know, a lot of the matches after, everything is determined is kind of just for pride and saying that you
Yeah.
ranked high in points.
Yeah. So, you know what? Yeah. ZSJ.
What about you, Kaliko?
ZSJ. Because this looked like some shit Juice would get caught up in.
And, I would agree with all of you, but I actually think Juice might have an opportunity to win this. I don't know why, but I think he will. Next up, Mitch, who will win? Toru Yano or Tetsuya Naito?
Another one where it's like obvious in my mind, but
Yano beat Naito last year in the G1.
Yeah, and that should be blasphemy. I'm just saying. But absolutely, it should be Naito. But I'm not surprised at this point. Like, whatever, dude. But I would never do that if I was a booker.
What about you, Scooter? Who wins?
Oh, at this when this match happens, we will know if Naito's got the block wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
So
He should.
I mean, yeah, it is a no-brainer, but given everything that's been thrown at us, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Yano came out with the victory.
I said nothing would shock me at this point, but I would not. I think that would be a really stupid thing to do, in my opinion, to have Yano go over Naito.
What about you, Kaliko? Naito, Yano.
My mind is saying Naito, but the king of pro wrestling, the king of pro wrestling, it should be Naito. But Yano, I feel like Yano, because he'll have it sewed up and he probably won't care, and that hurts to say because Yano beat him before, so it ain't like it ain't out of the ass.
Right. Hiroki Goto versus Evil. Who wins, Mitch?
Another one where I think it's a no-brainer. Evil should win this, but I wouldn't be surprised
I
if
think
they
you
have
might be
Goto
right
win.
about this one, Mitch. What about you, Scooter?
Yeah, it's evil.
But at this point, with what we've seen, I wouldn't be fucking shocked to see anyone go over someone like Evil, you know? At this point.
You want to finish this off, Kaliko?
Evil.
That brings us to our last match on the 14th. Tanahashi versus Sonata. Who wins? Mitch.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Tanahashi versus Sonata.
Ooh. Okay, I want Sonata to win, but they've been taking a creamy fucking shit all over him. So I think Tanahashi, because he's been the golden boy for years anyways, before NJPW got popular.
So you're going with Tana?
Back in the early 2000s, man.
What about you, Scooter?
Yeah, Tanahashi.
What about you, Kaliko?
Go S.
You know, I think this might be a Sonata win. But that's just me.
After all they've done to
but
him, they buried the fuck out of him.
They've been dicking Sonata so bad. So
They buried the
what's further?
fuck out of him. Why do you think this is gonna change all of a sudden now?
I mean, he's won his last two matches.
He did
Oh
beat.
wow!
He
After
did beat
being
Naito,
like
though.
after them wiping their ass with him completely.
Yeah, he did beat Naito, but it's like, we'll give you that one after we run your ass.
Wait, they had him beat Naito after all that? Fuck them!
Yes.
Fuck them!
Yeah.
This booking is so ass fucking backwards, dude.
I told
Oh
you.
my god.
See, I ain't the only one disappointed.
Let's take all the fucking energy and push that we got out of Naito out by having the worst guy in the fucking bracket beat him. Oh, that's smart. Fucking idiots.
I mean, with 14 people.
But give him a win over someone else. It doesn't have to be the fucking top guy in the fucking bracket. That takes away all the fucking, like, all of the, like, legitimacy, in my opinion.
See, right now, Mitch is being like my spirit animal. Like, right now. Right now. Let it fly, Mitch. Let it fly. He's got to be a peacock. You got to let him fly on this one.
Oh, cool. I'm flying, baby.
October 16th, we are on A block action. Kota Ibushi versus Tai Chi. Who wins Rich Mayhem?
Tai Chi versus Bushi? Okay, another fucking. I won't be surprised with fucking Tai Chi winning, but I want Ibushi to win. So, again.
What about you, Scooter?
I think finally it's definite for Kota.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not saying anything's definite. Fuck.
Kaliko?
It's not definite that we take a shit. Jesus.
Ibushi, because he's going to be in the top 2 or 3 of the block. But I don't think he wins.
Yeah, if they want to proceed with the storyline that they've been going down, I think they kind of have to have him versus Naito.
Yeah, if they were going down the storyline, usually the defending champ would be
right
in the top 2 and he would advance. So I expect him to make it.
I'm saying maybe Ibushi and Naito. Yeah. Are they in the same bracket or?
No.
Okay,
no,
then Ibushi and Naito.
Bracket.
That sounds about right. Maybe.
Jeff Cobb versus Yujiro Takahashi. Don't really need to say anything more about that.
I expect this to be Yujiro's first and only win.
I mean, yeah, on the last day, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it would be. The sentimental garbage
I
time.
wouldn't give him a single damn win, dude. No soup for you.
Alright, now this is where things get interesting. Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay. Who wins? Mitch.
Go my fucking boy Will Ospreay, baby. I told you he's gonna go far in this tournament. The Rainmaker Okada, I thought it was gonna be Okada and Naito in the finals. they're shitting on Okada too. So I think Austin is gonna pull out a big win.
What about you, Scooter?
Okada.
Normally I would say that too, but this is not a normal situation.
Kaliko?
Rainmaker.
Okay, we'll see.
And you know, I'm going to maybe go the controversial route, and I'm gonna say this goes to a draw.
Of course, you pull the draw out of your ass now.
Well, that draw is gonna prevent Okada from winning the whole tournament, in my
Oh,
opinion.
so he came back after them shitting on him?
Oh,
In the beginning of the tournament, he was like completely, he didn't win a match for a while.
well, I mean, he lost to Kota Ibushi and Jay White. Those aren't exactly
Early on,
hand-rankings.
right? Like 1-2. If I remember right. It was in the beginning of the tournament. So it seemed like he got like one after the other, like real quick, and he seemed down and out before the rest of the matches went on. But yeah. Okay, well then that might fuck. I might go with Okada then if he's in the chase. I'm gonna go with Okada. I thought he was out of it.
And Tomohiro Ishii versus Jay White. Who wins, Mitch?
Say again, who versus Jay White? I'm sorry.
Ishii.
Dude, I can't fucking see Ishii like legitimately winning unless it's up to NJPW booking. I would book Jay White to win.
Scooter?
That's why I think Jay White will be top 2, but go for it.
I would even give Jay White that one.
Scooter?
Yeah, Jay White.
Kaliko?
White? White.
Okay.
There you go.
Last match, Shingo Takagi versus Minoru Suzuki. I mean, it has to be Takagi, right, Mitch?
Yes, Takagi. There's mine.
Takagi versus Suzuki?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's tough actually. Takagi, why not?
Scooter? Join the bandwagon?
Yeah, Takagi.
That brings us to the final night of B Block action, October 17th. Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Mitch, who wins?
Zack Sabre Jr. I think Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay are gonna go far in this tournament and like be the standouts. So
Scooter?
Yeah, ZSJ.
Delico?
VSJ's beat him before, so yeah.
Juice Robinson.
not saying much in this climate, man.
Juice Robinson versus Hiroki Goto. Who wins? Mitch.
Juice.
Scooter?
Yeah, Juice.
Delico, you want to join the bandwagon?
Yeah, I might as well drink the juice too.
And that brings us to our next match. What do we do to Yoshi, Kaliko?
Fuck Yoshi.
There you go. Naito.
We gotta get a gif of like a dildo going in Mario of Yoshi, the Yoshi Mario.
Hey, now that's just poor taste.
And for not to be confused with Yoshi from Mario.
Yeah, fuck
from
Yoshi.
Mario. Fuck Yoshi Hashi.
Tetsuya Naito versus Kenta. Mitch, who wins?
I think that'll be a standout match. Naito versus Kenta. Oh shit! I think that'll be a standout match. Naito wins for. Well, wait. How many has he lost yet? Hold on.
Naito's
How many?
only lost one.
Who, Naito?
Yeah.
Yeah, Naito's been on
How many
a
is Kenta off?
Huh?
Kenta is only at 4 points, so he's only won 2, lost 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3.
Does Naito need this one to go to the finals?
Not at this point.
I think he'll have it wrapped
If
up
he
by
doesn't
then.
need this one, I think they'll give give the other guy the win. So I blanked on the name.
Kenta?
Naito versus
Kenta.
Kenta. Yes, Kenta. I think Kenta will maybe get a spoil victory if Naito doesn't need it. If somehow Naito needs that win to go forward to the finals, then Naito.
What say you, Scooter?
I'm gonna invoke the time limit draw here.
Oh, okay, I can
All
see
right.
that.
Hold on.
That's okay.
And Kaliko?
I don't like doing that personally.
I usually don't, but that one might be a draw.
I like clean finishes.
And
Well,
I
not
think-
clean, just not that dirt. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And the last match, Sonata versus Evil.
Who versus Evil? Sonata?
Mitch, who wins?
Wow. Evil.
Scooter?
Sonata.
I wanted him to go far, but
Kaliko?
Sonata. I mean, they fought before, so I'm gonna go with Sonata. If ever he needed some wins,
I
at least
know,
against the
but
XLIJ dudes. Jesus.
I think so. I think Sonata kind of has to win because
yeah, that's
Evil
what I
was
thought
his
a few
old
matches
tag
ago.
team partner, and he hasn't got that revenge on Evil yet. That maybe Naito did.
We'll see. They've been treating Sonata like shit, dude.
It's came around in the last couple weeks.
He's been out of it since the first few matches, dude.
Well, that
He was
concludes
buried right away.
all of our coverage of the G1. By the time, I think we have 2 more weeks where we could review everything that we've talked about so far, and then the week after that will be the finals, and the G1 will be in the history books once again. Till then, we will conclude the show. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, and comment both on YouTube and Castbox. And if you want to join in the conversation, we are always ready to talk about wrestling on Twitter. You can find me at JamesJ993. Where can they find Kaliko Yachts?
I'm Kaliko Yachts official new homeowner, baby! Woo-hoo.
Nice, dude.
Where can they find Mitch if Mitch Mayhem tweeted?
Leave me alone. Get off my lawn. If you want to get a hold of me, I guess. If you want to, Mitch Mayhem X.
Sound a little bit more enthusiastic about it, Mitch.
I'm not. I'm just being real. You want me to be a fucking fake and be like, oh, you want to catch me on Twitter? Twitter sucks. Fuck it.
And where can they find Scooter Dust?
At Scooter Dust and at Mike Pence Fly. No, at UNBS Wrestling.
Mike Pence fly. That's if he ain't got the Rona.
For Kaliko Yachts, Mitch Mayhem, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling What? The show has gone way too long. Entertainment.
The coronavirus is China's fault.